well, it's not a big deal, in response to the left making a big deal about something, well, they wouldn't be making a big deal about it if it wasn't a big deal. And the fact that they're choosing this hill to defend should tell you that there's something here worth fighting over.
My kid was going to school with a girl who was a they, them. She decided she was a they, them. And she demanded that they talk in they, them way. Like you had to use when you were referring to her as a plural. This girl wore makeup, dressed like a girl, just decided that she was a they.
Matt Walsh is a political commentator, which I tremendously respect. While I have some things concerning him that I disagree with, there's a lot of things that I certainly do agree. He is a force for good, if you were to ask me. Joe Rogan is another one of those guys I have learned to appreciate, despite the fact we have different views on Christianity. However, his willingness to listen and carefully pay attention to different views and perspective is something that I admire. He opens, I mean, he has the biggest podcast in the world right now, if you were to ask me. And he's having discussions about things that most people don't want to talk about. And I think for that alone, I give Joe Rogan a lot of respect. So in this video, what you're going to see is Joe Rogan talking to Matt Walsh about woke culture. What is this woke culture? And these pronouns that are, they're pretty much acceptable in our culture now. And we're going to listen to how he puts that together, react to that, and share some perspective along the way. Are you ready for this? I'm going to put a link to the description of this video without my comment. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel. This is coming from JRE Clips. Check out what they have going on there as well. Hey, before we get into this video, make sure you like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more of my notification upload. Comment below, share your thought and perspective with me as well. Let me know what you think about these reaction videos. Are they being a blessing to you? Are you learning and growing thus far? And thank you to our members of the Look and Live YouTube channel. For those of you who are supporting us on a monthly basis as well, we appreciate you for all that you do and the love and care that you show us here. And every thumbs up matter. So give us a thumbs up. This is how we push the video in the algorithm. Without further ado, let us now get into the heart of the message.
Well, when Jordan Peterson first started talking about compelled speech and compelled use of pronouns, I remember people thinking, like, why do you care about this? This is like such a small issue with a marginalized group of people. Like, let them have their identity and use the pronouns they want. And, you know, this is like, what was it, 2015, 2016? And I remember his warning, and I remember many other people like, this is going to spill over. Like this, if you can enforce this on a professor, and if you can enforce compelled speech, because Canada doesn't have the same free speech laws we do in America. Yeah. And if you can, like, where does it go? How are you compelling it? Well, it means through violence or through police or through the fear of being arrested, the fear of having your job taken away from you. Like, this is literally what happens when you use laws to compel people. Like, you have to have some sort of a punishment if they don't follow through, if they don't follow your orders. And this is what he was worrying about. And I remember at the time being like, I hope he's wrong. Like, I hope it doesn't get that big. But now here we are, 7 years later.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Because there's also a difference between telling people they can't say something, which is what free speech suppression usually is, and that's bad enough. But then telling people that they have to say something,
yes,
compelling them to actually say something, putting words in their mouth and telling them that you have to say this. And it's not you know, pronouns. It's not a small thing, because when you use the she for a he, you're not only being forced to say something, but you're being forced to affirm and acquiesce to a claim that you don't agree with. You're being forced to express a belief that's not yours. I mean, it's like it's not much different from, a dictatorship forcing someone to profess belief in a religion.
True. Perfect point, because this woke culture and also this transgender movement, when you take a deeper look at that, it is a religion. It has its own language. It has its own belief system. It is practiced in a particular way. There's a dress code. There's a tone to it. I mean, come on now. It is a religion. And if you don't sign on to it, you're not affirming and confirming, you might find yourself in some difficult places as a result of that. And if you were to ask me, I think it's very narcissistic. It's very self-centered. You want people to do exactly what you want them to do. And if they dare to step out of line, you malign their character and you blackball them. That's crazy business to me. Yeah.
It's forced conversion, basically, is what it is.
Yeah.
And once you allow that, it doesn't matter. Of course, it's going to start somewhere small. It's just pronouns. It always starts that way. But like I said, it's actually not small. Pronouns there's a reason why the left makes a big deal out of it. So anytime people on the right say, well, it's not a big deal, in response to the left making a big deal about something, well, they wouldn't be making a big deal about it if it wasn't a big deal.
True.
The fact that they're choosing this hill to defend should tell you that there's something here worth fighting over.
My kid was going to school with a girl who was a they, them. She decided she was a they, them. And she demanded that they talk in they, them way.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had to use, when you were referring to her as a plural. This girl wore makeup, dressed like a girl, just decided that she was a they, them, and would get angry if you misgendered her.
And
not calling her a plural.
Yeah. And what does that mean? So we have enough of a problem getting someone who identifies as a woman to tell us what a woman is, but
right. What's a they?
Yeah. What do you like? Describe to me the feelings of being a they. Can you describe that? What is that experience like? And anytime you ask someone to do that, it immediately descends into incoherence. And also, by the way, the actual gender neutral pronoun for an individual is it. It's not they. So it's interesting that. Well, nobody wants to be an it because it's
That's
dehumanizing.
offensive.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to be a they. But yeah, if you're calling yourself non-binary, you have dehumanized yourself because human beings exist in a sex binary, male and female. If you're rejecting that, you are rejecting your human identity. And so you've already dehumanized yourself. You are actually it. If it's true that you are not a male or female, then you are an it. We don't know what else to call you.
And then maybe more importantly, one of the things that you're doing when you're doing that is you're giving people, especially if you do it to young people, you're giving them an opportunity to be special and to get special treatment without any special act. They haven't done anything that warrants that unique behavior.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. I think that's actually so much of this that and people don't notice it, but a lot of this is just standard narcissism.
Yes.
Especially you listen to these, why is this so common among celebrities now? All the celebrities have trans kids and they're coming out as non-binary and whatever else. And then you listen to them like Demi Lovato or whoever, and you listen to them explain why they're they, them. It's always, well, I don't identify with these labels. I'm beyond that. I'm above that. It's like these labels were good enough for billions of humans before you, but it's not good enough for you. You can't find yourself there. But all these other billions of human beings, it was fine. They had no problem. But you're so special that we need to change the rules of the English language for you specifically. It's incredibly egotistical.
It's bizarre.
Yes, it is.
It's like if you feel that you're different than everyone else, you're still a female.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a different human being who happens to be a female. If you're so unique, go prove it with your actions. Prove it with your work.
I like that.
Prove it out there in the world. But to demand this very special attention, and that's what we give people.
There we go. I like what Joe Rogan just did here. Let your actions speak for itself. Therefore, prove it by the person that you are, rather than demanding special attention, special language being used for you because of the way you feel about yourself, which could change any moment now. The world should not be bowing down to your perception. No, you got to make the change necessary to adapt to the ways of the world. And this doesn't mean you can't be the person that you are. This doesn't mean you cannot feel the way you feel. But you cannot expect me to fall in line with your emotion, which varies depending on the circumstances that's going on in your own psyche. It just makes sense to me. Like, let your action speaks for itself. And, by their fruit, Jesus says we shall know them, right? It's not by what you say, by who you claim, but it's by the life you live. That is your testimony. That is what you ought to use as a way to, get people to understand who you are as a person. It is your life, your character that should matter most.
People, like, if you give people that thing today, they'll tell, there's groups of people that will tell you, you're amazing, you're incredible, you're beautiful, you're brave. It gives them positive affirmation for making these decisions.
It's also part of what you're describing is personality, right? I mean, so if you're saying, oh, I'm a female, but I don't identify with girly things and I don't like the color pink and whatever. Okay, that's your personality.
Yeah.
And it's fine. There are many ways to be a woman. There are many ways to be a man. There's like almost infinite ways of doing it because each man and woman has their own personality, their own perspective of the world, and that's fine. So I think that what I'm expressing is more the kind of traditional idea is much more expansive because it allows you as a man to just, be who you are. You're still a man, but be who you are. The idea now is that if you're a man, but you have interests or ideas that fall outside of the standard norm, now you lose your manhood. You're actually a woman. So they're actually reinforcing the gender binary while trying to destroy it at the same time, which is interesting. But I think most of what they're trying to describe is actually just personality. Yeah. And now we have this situation where, you could have a person who has 5 different genders and 6 sexual orientations, but no personality because their personality has been subsumed by all of these labels. They've categorized and labeled and everything, and it's really strange.
Strange is the word indeed that need to be used. And again, I know there's a lot happening in the mind of a transgender person, and I'm not saying I understand everything about that. And this is not to make fun or rebuke or ostracize anybody. But the fact is, there is a mental issue going on here. There is a mental illness that needs to be addressed. It's just what it is. Gender dysphoria is a mental problem, and it needs to be addressed, not made into law. It's not so much affirmation that they need. They need to understand why they feel the way they do. And it's most done with love and compassion. What I will say is, it's just like they said, it's just, there's no need for all that. And I think to top it off, it's not just their fault. I think the culture and society has played a role in creating all these confusions as well. And I will blame partially even the church for either not preaching the gospel, giving them a false perception of life. God has been ripped out of the schools, and I blame the government for that as well. And these kids are now confused as never before. So there are many factors that we need to take into consideration concerning these people, how they feel the way they feel, and how they're identifying as this and that, and all the emotional imbalance and emotional frenzies that's going on in their minds. So we don't need to go around condemning them, but we need to understand there is an issue that sprung from something even darker or deeper than what we could actually understand. However, it's still no excuse. It's still no excuse to be wrong. It's no excuse because there is grace and mercy available. Now, Jesus said this is what's going to happen in the last days. This is the book of Romans. Paul is speaking. He says, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who holds the truth in unrighteousness. Because that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God hath showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him which from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things which are made, even the eternal powers of Godhead, they are not without excuse. So God is saying nature, gives man no excuse. Because if you don't believe in God, you believe in evolution, you reject God, anything goes from this point forward. By the way, this is an argument against evolution, rejecting creation, rejecting the account that is found in a creative work, and how when you look at nature, you can see the fingerprint or body print, the body language of God in essence, right? And we are told they don't have an excuse, because that is a powerful testimony on behalf of God. And because that when they knew God, and here's the issue, they knew God, but they glorify him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish hearts was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fool. He went on to say, they changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image of made uncorruptible man, to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. And he says God gave them up unto uncleanness, to the lust of their own hearts. This is what's going on here. What you're reading that's happening in our culture, you're reading Romans chapter 1. And it's sad. But I don't want you to drown in helplessness here and saying that, wow, this is what God says about some of these people. We should hate them, or maybe if you are a transgender or a gay, whatever it is you identify as, you're looking at this. I want to let you know that there is hope. Here is the hope. It's actually at the top of the chapter. It says, for I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jews first and also to the Greek. For therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith, that is written, the just shall live by faith. So, despite what the world has done, the culture, your supposed identity, how you feel in your mind about your person, your emotions, whatever is happening up there that you feel somewhat confused about, God says the gospel is the solution. The gospel can change you. The gospel can give you God's righteousness, faith to faith. If you live by faith, in other words, you live by trusting in the word of God, the gospel of Jesus Christ, you're going to be okay. You're going to be saved from all of that. And that's what God wants to do for you and I, friends. Nothing more, nothing less. Thank you so very much for checking this one out with me. I hope it was a blessing. Make sure you like and subscribe to the page. Joe Rogan, Matt Walsh. This was a really good one. I really appreciate the discussion. So anyway, comment below, share your perspective with me. Until next time, and as always, remember to look unto Jesus and to live by faith. Have a good one. Bye.